Could you imagine jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge and living to tell it? Well, we have someone here in the studio to share that story. And why the Golden Gate Bridge, which may be the most popular bridge in the world, is not as perfect as it looks. We'll also step inside the squared circle and take a look at the world of professional wrestling. Finally, do we have the next Dave Chappelle? A hilarious up-and-coming comedian, Ali Mafi. Under San Francisco starts now. Welcome to Under San Francisco. I'm Sarah Hoxie. Since its completion in 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge has become the international symbol of the city of San Francisco. However, the second longest extension bridge in the United States has become an attraction for people wanting to commit suicide. Since the bridge opened, approximately 3,000 suicides have taken place in an 8-year span between 1994 and 2002. There was at least one person who jumped every 2 weeks. And we have one of the jumpers in studio, Kevin Hines, who survived the jump and now is a spokesperson for the Bridge Rail Foundation and also on the San Francisco Mental Health Board, trying to help those who are considering taking their lives. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about your life before you jumped?
Sure. It was privileged. I had a great life. I went to a great Catholic school. I had two great parents, a mom and a dad, a brother and a sister who loved me dearly. I'm adopted. My family before that was degenerate. They didn't have very much money. They didn't have anything but themselves. But I got lucky to be adopted by a great family.
What did you think about as soon as you hit the water when you jumped that day?
Well, as soon as I let go of the rail, in my distorted reality, I said, I don't want to die. God, please save me. When I hit the water, it was like hitting a ton of bricks in a Jaguar at 75 miles an hour.
Wow. So when you hit the water, what did you think when you were like, I'm still alive?
Well, at the moment I hit the water, I thought I was dead. The impact was so heavy that it reverberated through my legs, causing me to just sprain my ankle and shattered two of my vertebrae, my T12 and my L1, into about probably 50 pieces each. And those pieces splintered into all of my organs, missing my heart and my lungs.
Wow. So why the bridge?
Why the bridge? It's quite simple. It's easy. I had gone online and I had seen a website which is so disgusting, and it was telling you that the easiest way to die in San Francisco is to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a 4-foot rail. A 12-year-old child who is tall enough could fall over if tripped.
How has your life changed since you jumped?
Since I jumped, my life has changed drastically. It wasn't overnight though. It changed drastically in that in the last 5 to 6 years. I learned how to deal with my mental illness, bipolar disorder. I learned how to admit that I had the disease, which is a brain disease, and I learned how to deal with it by taking medication, having a rigorous routine, waking up, going to sleep, eating, sleeping at the same time every day to make sure I stay on point and stay above water.
Do you regret trying to kill yourself?
Well, I regret trying to kill myself, absolutely, but quite frankly, if I had not done what I did and lived, I would not be where I am today. Mentally stable, healthy, and working with great suicide prevention organizations and mental health organizations across America.
Now we're going to take a look at the railing. As you can see, the fence goes, and then all of a sudden it just stops.
It stops. The fence goes and then stops. That fence is only there, a chicken wire fence, so that people won't jump and fall on the workers below. That's the only reason it's there. It's too terrible for someone else to die from someone committing suicide, but it's not too terrible for someone to go past that fence and attempt to die by suicide. We like to say in the mental health field, die by suicide and not commit, because committing suicide is like saying they're committing a crime. These people are mentally ill. 90% of the people who attempt or die by suicide are mentally ill. That's a fact. And these people know not what they do. And if we in this nation and world are our brothers and sisters' keeper, it is our job to do something about that. Everywhere they have raised a rail, in Japan over a volcano, in Paris, in Toronto, the Bloor Street Viaduct, everywhere they've raised a rail to save lives, the suicides dropped to 0, and they dropped 23 to 25% in the resounding metropolitan areas. Why can't we do that here? We seem to be a progressive city. I would suggest that we need a little more to work on.
Okay. So you say you're working with organizations. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing right now?
Of course. I'm speaking now, or going to be speaking with my father's foundation, thebridgerail.org. And if you go on the web, www.bridgerail.org, and that is the sole initiative to build a rail on the Golden Gate Bridge. We don't say barrier because barrier sounds like we're putting up a cement wall. This thing is going to be done by the most wonderful architects in the world, and it's going to be gorgeous, and it's going to save lives. I also have my own suicide prevention MySpace. It's called mknl@comcast.net. If you search by email. Then I have a YouTube suicide prevention channel at Kevin Hines Quest for Suicide Prevention. And I work with the SAVE organization. That's Suicide Awareness and Voices of Education with Daniel J. Reidenberg. That's save.org. I work with the Glendon Association out of Santa Barbara, glendon.org, glendon.org, with Dr. Lisa Firestone. I was just in the movie The Bridge, www.thebridge-themovie.com with Eric Steele. And I work for several more organizations. One I'm hoping to work with is www.nostigma.org. That's with Ross Szabo, and pfnc.org, sfsp.org, that's San Francisco Suicide Prevention, and afsp.org is one of the most important ones because they have the suicide prevention walks all over the country. And people who have lost someone, people who have attempted themselves, get to go on these walks. Thousands of people attending raise money for suicide prevention awareness, and that's the overnight.org.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about the movie that you did?
Yes, the movie's called The Bridge. It's here now in the Embarcadero Theater at Embarcadero Cinema 1, and it's chronicling the lives of the people in 2004 who died off the bridge. Yes, it does show you suicides, but I would suggest that people go and watch documentaries about war, and they see people killing each other. This is different, but it's the same. These people are not dying because they want to. They're dying because their disease is telling them to. When I was on the bridge, I heard voices in my head saying, you must die, jump now. It was very heavy, very loud, and I could not control my emotions. I was paranoid. I was seeing and hearing things. I was extremely depressed and manic at the same time. I was mentally ill.
So you heard voices in your head. Do you
Yeah.
think other people are experiencing the same thing that you are experiencing?
I don't just think it, I know it. I've read as much as I can about psychology, psychiatry, and I'm learning as much as I can to each avail from the cons and the pros. And I'm learning right now, and I'm going to get my degree in psychology to find out why people kill themselves. A great book to look at is 85 Questions About Suicide. Why? And it's by Dr. Daniel J. Reidenberg, who I work with. Suicide is not courageous. Suicide is not weak. It doesn't make you meager. Suicide is done when you are not in your right mind. And if people could understand that, we'd save a lot more lives.
So what would you tell to people that were in the same shoes as you were when you heard those voices and you were really depressed?
Well, I would suggest to them that, hey, wait a minute. How old are you right now? 25, 19, 18, maybe 75? You got a whole life ahead of you either way. And someday it might be better. Let's say you're 16 and you want to kill yourself. When you're 75, it might be just a little bit different. You might have had a job. You might have retired. You might have 3 kids and grandkids. You have to look past that day. You have to have hope. And there are people out there that will and can help you. One of the greatest resources is 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. And that is a national suicide prevention phone line, hotline, where they can help you with all kinds of crisis intervention.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Kevin. We really appreciate you coming today.
Thank you.
We're going to show some of your organizations right now on screen, so that way people can get any information about all your organizations and the things that you're currently involved in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.